animal, and then she saw his head pick up, and they backed up and they got him, and they went to the person's house where they thought it was at, and he said, oh well, I guess I'll go ahead and go bury him and everything else, and he grabbed him up and threw him on the side of the road, and it was like, they were like, he's still alive, he's not dead. You can see he's very live. So we took him to the vet and put a bunch of money into it, and they put, like I said, a feeding tube in him. He's got a week in a feeding tube. His jaw's broken. His jaw's actually crushed. Fracture right through his skull right here. He said morphine. He had morphine in the mornings. This is the latest of the animals that we are saved that found. So, yeah, that's what's going on right now. And that's for introduction of my
Right. Whenever you have a injured cat like this, they'll have a feeding tube they'll send you home with if you can control it. With the feeding tube, you have to actually push the fluid through the food, which you can make it into a liquid form that they give you, and you take this and you actually push it through. Then they give you a syringe, right, and it screws to the actual port that's on the back of the cat's neck or the dog or whatever, and you screw it into it, and you push the fluid through. Now it will clog up, and what you do is that you actually unscrew it, squeeze out the portion that is unclogged, which is very little, wipe it off or whatever, then re-screw it back on and continue on pushing the food into the feeding tube. And yes, it's a tedious thing. Now when you finish, you will take that syringe that you use and also fill it up halfway, or you fill it up with water, with distilled water, clean water, and you'll actually screw it back on and then push that water through, cleaning out the feeding tube, because you don't just feed them and then walk away, because that tube, the food will get crusted in there and it causes for a lot of problems. So yeah, that's a head up on that. So if you're having to feed, just I can give you more details on it, but that is basically the whole headlight to feeding it, and it's not a hard thing to do. Anybody can do it. All right.